It's Dew Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, and good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this Dew Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where you been all week? Oh my goodness, this has been some phenomenal week. Oh my goodness. Don't enable the toxicity is where we started on Monday. Oh, that was the switch tip for the week. And oh my goodness, that has been ringing out for the entire week. Yes, we even started talking on Tuesday about the pastor who lives in what they call the villages out in Florida. And he was picked up and arrested for bigotry. Yes, or bigamy. Yeah, you know what I mean. Bigamy, not bigotry, bigamy. And he posted on Facebook about his brand new wedding. And his friends were asking, I thought you were married already. Well, after a couple of those inquiries, he decided to take it down. And he's known for living in a village where they are really not the quiet type over there. They are known for their sexual encounters publicly. They are known for a high rate of STDs, being out there. Now, this is from the older generation, and it was confirmed by our own very, Dew Time crew who actually live out in that area, and that area has a not a good reputation. Well, unfortunately, this is the way clergy is being represented. So don't enable the toxicity. You living there and now you're being arrested for bigamy. That doesn't have a very good look for you or that area of living. So let's make sure that whatever we do not enable people or things. We got to talking to Vivian on Wednesday with her socially conscious segment, and she talked about that woman, that 39-year-old woman from Long Island who was convicted because she threw a stick of dynamite at her sleeping boyfriend, after an argument. And when he woke up to the hissing sound of the dynamite, he actually tried to pick that dynamite stick up and throw it, only to lose his hand and his arm. So, I don't know. We just got finished talking on Monday about just being able to separate, knowing when to leave a toxic relationship, not enabling toxicity. So if you didn't leave when you should have left, my girl, then this is why now you're going to spend 2 decades up in jail, because you couldn't take it no more, because the word has that she warned him that she was going to use some dynamite. So this has been some stuff that's been going on for quite some time. Well, Thursday rolled around, our therapeutic Thursday. And when I tell you, this was therapy driven. We had our Dr. Janet Taylor Gwynn on, and oh my goodness, what a phenomenal testimony. She is definitely an indication of why we need, as Christians, when we're telling our testimony, to make sure we say more than he brought me out, he brought me through, he brought me from a mighty long way. No, that word needs to be flushed out. That testimony needs to be flushed out. She had not only did she have the story, not only did she have her journey, but she also had a word in the journey. There was some pockets of gems that she was able to just expose. You know, she talked about being in front of a judge who just was like, go take your kid and go. You need to get up out of here. Whether it was to better herself, whether it was because he was tired of looking at her. She said she kept going back and forth to jail. And we talked about God making a way out for you. You got to be able to see that. So when God told her to flee, that's what you need to do. Has God given you a way of escape and you can't find your way out of a paper bag? Yo, when I tell you, the story was so phenomenal because not only did she speak of her experience and show how God has really blessed her life and where he's brought her not only from but through, but she was then able to tell us about how our modern day, if you will, prostitution goes on. Yeah, well, we don't think it's prostitution, is very well prostitution. Oh my goodness gracious, she was loaded yesterday, and I mean loaded. And this is why we need to be very candid about what God does with us, because we don't only have the story, we actually have the pockets of love, the indication of how God loves us. She talked about how she just cried so loudly from the basement of the jail, and how she just poured out to God, because that's where she had grown. Just poured out to God. And we don't have to wait till we get to the pit to pour out, because God needs us to pour out right where we are, regardless of what the status is, regardless of what we're going through. We need to pour out to God. So her story was absolutely amazing, and she's going to be back. Yes, we're going to put another date on the calendar so she can actually come back and minister to us again. So that's how we spent our week here on This Due Time with Pastor Steph. Well, today is Freestyle Friday, and yes, God has brought us through the week, and it is May 1st. We are officially finished with January, February, March, and April already in 2026. Well, come on. Let's go get that healthy breakfast. Come on. Let's go tell somebody, anybody, everybody that It's Due Time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere, because we will be right back.
Men think that being a good man is enough. Like, I used to think that too. Like, if I was solid, if I cared, if I showed up, that should be enough, right? But I didn't realize how I showed up mattered more than what I actually felt. Like, I had to learn how to communicate without ego, how to listen without getting defensive, how to lead without controlling. Because being a man isn't about being right. It's about being accountable.
I like that. Good morning, and good morning again. Welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. I'm liking that. That's my boy from Power. My boy from what else did he play in? Oh my goodness. He played in a few movies. Wasn't he in that movie with what's his name? Lorenz Tate, Shantice? With Lorenz Tate and the Spanish guy. Oh my goodness, I can't think of it. I can't think of the name of the movie. But I like him. I like him a lot. Is she telling me something here? Hold on, I might have an answer to that question. Yes, that's Rotini. Yes, he played in a movie also with Lorenz Tate. And I think he was his nemesis, I believe. Yeah. So I actually like that. All righty. Well, you know what time it is on this Freestyle Friday where we get to talking to our men. Well, I want to say good morning to all my viewers in Due Time World. If you're in the room, please let me know. Other than that, I don't know. Shantice, you may have to play that PSA again because I really was unhappy with my topic for my guys today. But I like that. So please get that ready for a possible repeat. All right. Let's say good morning to King Terrence. Good morning, Terrence. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We got a check-in from our girl, Ketty. Hey, Ketty girl. Thank you so much for joining us. And Cool Guy. Hey, Cool Guy. Hello. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining that. And let's say good morning to the ladies who hold it down each and every morning, who just be doing the struggling thing. Good morning to our girl Shantice. Hey, Shantice. And good morning. I feel like Brian. Hey, Shantice. And let's say good morning to our girl Anika. Good morning. Anika says, love that shirt. Thank you. Compliments of... It's personalized. Yes. Yo, I wear these shirts every day on here. Get your shirts. Get your shirts. Because you can. Anything you want on it, except for anything demonic. Okay? Get your shirts. Oh, we got a check-in from Miss Herlima. Yes. Good morning, Miss Herlima. Yes, Terrence, he was in Power. What did I say he was in? I didn't say Power? Okay, thank you. Yes, Shantice, the movie was called Deuces with Lorenz Tate. And he was in the movie with Jonathan McReynolds about the prodigal son type of movie. So that was a good one he was in. And I love him. So to get a word from him, yes, favorite son. Thank you. Yeah, so he's been, making his little mark around Hollywood. So, and boy, everybody hated Andre in Power. Oh, well, amen. He's proclaiming Christianity now. Amen. Hopefully he will be, a blessing to Hollywood. He played in Favorite Son, so, that kind of, you don't ever know what's going to introduce you to, God. You may think you're doing it for one reason, but you're doing it for another reason. And that may have, he may have been raised in church or whatever. So good for him. All right. So, on Fridays, we do our celebrity news, our celebrity trivia. And boy, this week was whack. But I had something in my arsenal for our trivia. So we got some fun facts about Martin Lawrence. So if I'm giving you something, let me know. Let me know whether you knew this stuff or not. And Maybe you can let me know something. He was named after a civil rights icon. They say Martin Lawrence was named after two powerful leaders, Martin Luther King and John F. Kennedy, whose legacies helped shape American history. So I guess his middle name is John or Kennedy or F. Alrighty. Let's see what else they're telling us about Martin. Let's see. He was born in Germany. Now, I did hear that. I think they were his dad. He was a military brat. Before becoming a household name, Martin was actually born in Frankfurt, Germany, while his father was serving in the military. Yeah, I did know that one day. He was a military brat. Alrighty. What else about Martin? Stand-up was his first love. Yes, we know that before, he got into Hollywood, that he was doing stand-up comedy. Well, not only that, but they say he was even seen on Star Search. Now, those of you who are of the younger generation, you may not know what Star Search is, but Star Search was like the low-key American Idol. Yeah, they just didn't have the Simon and the, Randy Jackson, and yeah, but they would put people out there, and quite a few people came through Star Search. Aaliyah came through Star Search. Martin, as we found out, Usher Raymond came through Star Search. So there were a few people that actually came through Star Search. Martin was a cultural phenomenon, they say. His hit sitcom wasn't just funny, it became a staple in Black households and helped define 90s comedy culture with unforgettable characters such as Shanae and Jerome. Yes. Alrighty. Thank you, Shantice, for just coming up with the pictures, because I kind of switched gears on her this morning. I had some other stuff up. He played multiple characters on his own show, and we know that. So wait, we always go through this, Shantice and I. There was Dragonfly Jones, there was Otis, there was Jerome, Shanae, Mama Payne, who else? The karate guy, that's 6. Who else? Am I forgetting anybody? Bob, yes. Shanti. Bob for marketing. Yes, that's 7 characters he played on his sitcom. We got to check in from our girl, Tamika. Hey, Tamika. Thank you so much for joining us. So that's 7 characters he played on his own show. Oh, yes. Yes, Tamika. The little runny-nosed kid. Oh my goodness, what was his name? Roscoe. Yes, Roscoe. Yes, Shanti's Roscoe. Yes, he played the singer. Oh yeah, that's 8. That's 8. 8 characters he played in his own comedy series. All right. We're talking about fun facts about Martin Lawrence. They say Bad Boys changed his career forever. And I agree. When he starred alongside Will Smith in Bad Boys, he then became that global movie star and helped him solidify his box office powerhouse ability. Yes. Let's see. He was one of the Def Comedy Jam's biggest stars. Not only was he the biggest star, but he was, remember when they launched, he was the host. Yes, I remember that. So he hosted, and they say that he became a familiar face from Def Jam, and that was produced by Russell Simmons. Okay. Let's see what else. he took a break from acting to focus on himself. So they say at the height of his career, Martin stepped away from the spotlight for a period to prioritize his health and personal life. Yeah, because remember, he went through that whole thing where he, what do you call it? He passed out and all kinds of things. Yeah, he wasn't doing well at one point. If he did not focus on himself, he would have been dead. Shanti says he used to work at a telemarketing firm with Kid in Play and Salt and Pepper. Yeah, I remember that story. It was wasn't that in the what do you call it? That was in the Salt and Pepper story, right? Yeah, I think that was in Salt and Pepper story. So Randy, good morning, Randy. Thank you so much for joining us this morning and adding to the chat. So Martin Lawrence played Big Mama. He was one of the cross-dressing, people. And, there's this big controversy about should, men cross-dress as to play a woman's role and things like that. And we've had this conversation, a couple times here on His Due Time with Pastor Steph. So let's see what other fun facts we can talk about. Okay, they talk about how he made a huge comeback. Interestingly enough, they talk about how he came back playing Big Mama and did his Bad Boys for Life. And it kind of gave that Bad Boys for Life gave him another spark in, his acting career. All right. They say another fun fact about Martin is that he is still influencing comedy today. And it's true. It's true. There are people who try to, imitate him. They, remember when he was doing stand-up, and they remember, all of the acting that he's done. And he has been a huge influence on comedy in comedy. So, that there is actually correct. All right. So I thought that it would be nice to talk about that. He's kind of, they said he lost a lot of weight. He's gotten back to the old Martin days. Now, he might not look like this up in this picture, but if you remember when he was in the last Bad Boys, he had gotten very heavy. Yeah, picked up a lot of weight, and he worked hard to get back to, where he used to be. And he looks quite good. He really does. All right, what we talking about in the news today? All right, let's see what's going on out here in our let me see what's going on out here in our celebrity world. What are we talking about today? Let's check our news. And I've been having a lot of problems with this iPad, and it has not been cooperative at all. All righty. Well, we all know that the reboot to A Different World has been the big talk. Well, they just got finished shooting, their first 10 episodes for Netflix. And guess what they are announcing now? METHOD Man. Yes, Method Man is now a part of A Different World cast. Yeah. Now, this is going to be interesting because he's one of the newer faces that will be joining them. And he is going to play a Hillman coach. Yeah, he is definitely playing a new role. He's not, trying to, They're not trying to put him in somebody else's role, which I'm glad. And they say he's going to play Coach Coles, and he's going to definitely be a good asset. Now, here's the thing. They have itemized everybody who will be a part of this reboot, and I think they've pretty much brought back almost anybody who was alive during the time that a different world went off the air. They brought them back because they are also announcing that Karen Molina White and AJ Sanders is actually going to be a part of the lineup again. They are reprising their roles as Charmaine and Gina. Yes. So I'm trying to figure out where all these people are going to, come in. They won't be, I guess, on a heavy rotation if they're trying to bring out Dwayne and Whitley's daughter. You know what I'm saying? It can't be, because right now it looks almost like they're just doing a remake of the old, what do you call it? A Different World. Not so much of a reboot, because you're bringing back all these people, and that's because people want to see the old show. Yeah. Now, okay, hold on. I want to make sure I caught on my. Yeah. Ashanti said Method Man on A Different World. I definitely have to watch it now. Wait, they're not shooting this in front of a live audience. I don't know if they did shoot it in front of a live audience and they're going to play it for us. It doesn't mean that they didn't shoot it in front of a live audience. It just means it won't be live in front of us. There's a difference. And Kenny says, yes, Method Man. So you've got Dwayne, Whitley, Freddie, Ron, what's the dark-skinned girl's name? The one who was the when she was the diva singing. You've got Colonel Taylor, you've got Jalissa, you've got what's her name is coming back as Dean Davenport. What's her name? Oh my goodness, I can't think of her name. The one who's always playing everybody's mama, Jennifer Lewis. And now you've added AJ Sanders and Karen Molina White. Jada Pinkett is coming back. So you've pretty much brought back everybody who was actually a part of, the show before it closed down. So that should be interesting. I want to know how they're going to fit in the new people. Now, also, just so you know, what's her name's daughter is going to be in this as well. Tashina Arnold's daughter is actually going to be a part of this cast. So I'm really, really interested in how this is all going to go down. All right. For those who are interested in a Love Jones sequel, we've talked about this before. Well, before, when we spoke about this Love Jones sequel, they did talk about the fact that, they were considering, doing this Love Jones. Well, now they have spoken to Nia Long and they gave their movie names here. As much as Shantice loves this movie, I saw it once and I've never had to see it again. Nina Mosley, Nia Long played, and Darius Love Hall, Lorenz Tate played. Well, they got to talking to the two of them, Lorenz and Nia Long, and they said no. Yes, Shantice, they said no. They said the authenticity of Love Jones, they want to leave alone. They do not want to make a franchise out of it. They said that little commercial they did for Walmart, that's where they're going to leave it, and they're not pushing it any longer. They have really shut this thing down. So there you have it. There you have it. So Shantice, don't worry about it. Dry your brow, girl. So last week, I spoke to the guys about, whether they were going to go see the Michael Jackson. Excuse me. Who's that? Who's saying, oh, is that Tamika? Wait, oh, that's Terrence, who says, let me stop trying to read all the way over there. Terrence says, Love Jones was the joint. Well, you know what? I'm going to give this another gander. So how about next week, Thursday, Therapeutic Thursday, we do a review of Love Jones. How would y'all like that? Y'all let me know if we can maybe add something new to our, lineup. And for Therapeutic Thursday, we do no. You know what? Let's do Friday. Yeah. Let's do this. We do the My 2 Cents review on Thursday night. So Friday, let's do Love Jones Friday. And you know what? I've added the men to the ladies Wednesday. How about I add the ladies to the men's Wednesday? Oh, Shantice, you know what? I'm so glad I'm the host here. Go sit down and just work my backroom camera. All right. We'll see what the men say. Well, you know what? She's watched this more than I have. I will give her that. This is one of her favorite movies. So maybe we'll leave it to the men. I don't know. I thought this was a back and forth thing. But you know what? I got my Ainsley on with me today. So I'm going to find out from him, what he thinks about doing this Love Jones thing. So since Terrence claims it's the joint, since Shantice loves this movie, let's take a stab at this. Anika says, yes, good. Not everything needs a reboot. Love Jones is one of my favorites. All right. So you know what? Y'all have spoken. We're going to do a Love Jones review next week. Tamika says, that's nice. They understand the work it takes to make it authentic, and they will leave it alone. They are not in it for the money. Yeah, I was kind of glad too. This is this year, 24, they are remaking The Help. They are remaking Why Did I Get Married Again? They are doing a remake to, what's that other movie? Waiting to Exhale. So in 1 year, we've got 3 remakes, and I'm like, So we'll see. Let's try that. Let's do something a little different next week. Let's do a My 2 Cents. Yes, they're doing you didn't know they were doing Waiting to Exhale? Yes, they're doing Waiting to Exhale. They are adding, they said with the loss of Whitney, they are actually adding Regina King, and I believe, what's the dark lady? Good one. The actress. Can't think of her name. Yeah. Well, they're adding a couple of people onto that. So we'll see. All righty. Let's talk about, all right. I was talking about the Michael Jackson biopic movie last week with the guys. And they said that it hit major numbers last weekend for their opening weekend. They say setting the biggest opening weekend for a music biopic. And they say that it debuted with $97 million domestic dollars and $217 million worldwide. It exceeded Straight Outta Compton and Bohemian Rhapsody. Now, what is Bohemian Rhapsody? I have no idea. But Straight Outta Compton, I do know about. And Straight Outta Compton opened up with 60 million. So they said, Michael, the biopic movie, really kind of blew up last weekend. So let's see what else is going on. Let's talk about some real news here. Let's see what we got going on. All right. So those of you who do not know how to hold your temper, you better learn, because we've got a story of a man who is Jacarius Lewis, who's 27 years old, and he got in some trouble, and he's in. Trust me when I tell you, I'm going to give you talking about giving him. So what happened was he was going back and forth to trial for the April 2024 murder of Quincy Jermaine Johnson. He actually tried to waive his right to an attorney and kind of take care of this on his own, but they would not allow him. Now, he had a court-appointed attorney. Now, during this case, he's been accused of being one of two suspects who shot Mr. Johnson while he was standing on a balcony in Houston. Well, he pled guilty to the murder on January 21st, but he didn't receive his sentence until Tuesday. So they say that when he got his sentence of, I believe it was 20 years. Let me make sure. He got a sentence. Oh, no, it's 50 years. They say he turned around and punched the attorney in the face. Yep. And when he punched the attorney in the face, they are now charging him, because I told y'all they're coming up with a whole lot of different charges now. So they're saying he is now facing additional charges because they are giving him charges for injury to an individual who is at least 65 years old. That's now a charge. Yeah. So they don't call it hitting the elderly, because you ain't considered elderly at 65, but they do acknowledge that you are an older person. So now he's facing injury to a person who is at least 65 years old. This is the stuff that that's what I say. Listen, don't go out here committing any crimes, because they definitely they design and stuff. Okay. Viola Davis is the person I was talking about, who's going to be a part. Thank you, Ketty. Who's going to be a part of Waiting to Exhale. So Regina King and Viola Davis are a part of Waiting to Exhale. We got a check-in from Stephen Paul. Thank you so much. Stephen is watching from Pakistan. So welcome to It's Due Time. All righty. So we are so excited for you this Sunday. I don't know. We got to get some conversation going, because I'm not aware of that. Okay. So we'll get to talking, I guess, on the side. All right. So we got to make sure we keep our heads together when we're out here. Now, can you imagine going to court, you in court, and now you're going to have to face a new charge? All righty. Let's see what's going on here. You know, we always talk about being a good Samaritan here on It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. And we are, we're admonished to do the right thing. But we also have to be very careful about what we're doing. All right. So you have this case of a Georgia man who got mixed up with the wrong person while doing the right thing. So you have Jamal Cobb, who stumbled across this man, Mr. Carter, while, I don't know, driving, walking, something along the line. But he ended up getting in his car and helping a man, Mr. Carter, who's 41 years old, because he was left stranded at a gas station in Atlanta. And he ended up having an argument. This Mr. Carter ended up having an argument with the girlfriend, and the girlfriend left him there. So he stumbled upon Mr. Cobb, and he asked him for help. So they say it's about 7 o'clock in the morning, and he ended up driving him. Mr. Cobb ended up driving Mr. Carter out to the girlfriend's house, which was about 15-20 minutes. And they say when they knew anything, Mr. Carter robbed him of his car, killed him, and then went driving after he disposed of the body out to the girlfriend's house. And a woman who was walking her dog ended up coming across Mr. Cobb. And, this is really sad because he called himself, doing a good deed. Now, we have been told over and over again since I was a child, and I'm almost 60, don't pick up strangers. Don't pick up no hitchhikers. And don't hitchhike and get in strange people's cars. And unfortunately, I guess he figured, he was doing a nice thing. And now he's no longer here. And it's really sad, very sad, because he was a young man. He wasn't old at all. And 29 years old, trying to give someone help, he ended up losing his life. And, it makes people think, twice about really helping somebody, because everybody's always got an angle. You never know what's dangerous, what's clear. We don't know, so, he probably walked up on him, with this sad sob stuff. Yo, man, I was out here with my lady, and, we got into a little thing, and, she left me, yo, man, I just need a ride. It ain't about 15, 16 miles. You know what I'm saying? And you end up being shot and killed, and they take your car and your life. Kenny says, wow, that's why you can't pick up strangers or anyone else. It's true. Unfortunately, Shanti says you have to get left, especially if you're a man. And you know what? You can't even trust the women, because how many stories have we done with the women being a lure? All right. Terrence says, died for helping people. This is the reason why people don't want to help and do nothing anymore. It's true. I agree with you. I agree with all three of you. You try to do the right thing, but you can't. You have to second guess everything and everybody. And unfortunately, the people who really need help end up getting messed up because they can't get help because of the other people who have messed it up so bad. Where's my boy Ainsley? Where's my brother Ainsley this morning? Let's get rid of some of these things here. Good morning, Ains.
Hey, good morning, Pastor Steph. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Doing all right.
Good. So we didn't got our celebrity talk on this morning. What do you think about us doing next week, Friday, a review, my 2 cents on the movie Love Jones. Oh, did I lose Ainsley? Is he frozen?
How about now?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I'm down with it. Honestly, I can't remember how the movie went.
Okay.
I'm totally. I can't. I know it was Neil Long and Lorenz, but I can't remember how the movie goes. So once I
Okay.
start watching it, I'll be all right. I'm down with it.
All
I
righty.
know
All
my brother
righty. You know,
KO ain't watching no movies though.
well, he won't be a part of this conversation. He gonna have to watch this movie to be a part of this conversation. That's what we doing. You either get on board or what happened, Shantis? I could cut you in or I could cut you out. So it's on you. So I know he doesn't really look at movies and things like that, but you know, if everybody's gonna be on board, he's gonna have to be on board too. So Ains, we're talking about, you know, 2 stories here. We're talking about the man who was in who was in court for shooting someone, and he feels that his court-appointed lawyer didn't do him any good. And when he got sentenced 50 years, he punched the attorney in his face. And you know, now you got new charges on your 50 years. Now, here's where I want to go with this. You know, we always talk about accountability. You know,
Right.
Listen, you're the one that did the deed.
Exactly.
We do know that, you know, the court-appointed attorneys have always been accused of not doing the best job. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But should you be that angry to punch him in the face? And how much time should he get for punching his attorney in the face?
Well, I can see. I figure when you got 50 years, I figure that's life, man. You know, I don't know how old he is. You know, that's almost life, right there. So I mean, at the heat of the moment, I'm like, yo, if I got to punch somebody in the face, you that angry? What's another 10 years on top of that? I probably ain't coming out after that anyway. So it don't make a difference.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
And you're right. You know, a lot of court-appointed attorneys, they're not. You know, and then like you got Johnny Cochran working for you. You know, they might do their own bare minimum, but the thing is, you know, you still have a say so in your own defense, and you want to do this on your own. So, how good do you think he would have been all by himself? You know what I'm saying? He probably got like 75 years if he had did it by himself. So, you know,
right.
You know, so I can say you're not being satisfied with that. Because I recall once it wasn't nothing really serious, no, right? And I hired an attorney to take over a matter for somebody else, and I was like, I think I can do this on my own. But I let the attorney handle it, and he lost the case, and I was so upset. I did want to punch him in the face though, because I'm like, I could have get better for this and cut my money to myself. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But yeah. You know, because you know when a attorney lets you down, it can feel like, you know, something needs to happen.
Right. You didn't, you know, you're fighting for your life pretty much.
At this point, yeah.
And, right. You know, you fight for your life, so you're really looking for, you know, some help here. So Shantice is asking, what was the initial charge? Well, remember, he was going to court because he was being accused of being one of 2 men who shot this Quincy Jermaine Johnson while he was standing on the balcony in Houston. And he pled guilty to the murder. So here's the problem, Ainsley. one of the things that these people have become accustomed to is pleading out and then getting no time. So now you figure you didn't play it out and you still got 50 years. You know, sometimes this is their crazy mentality.
Right.
You know, listen, you could have gone to jail for life. You know, so 50 years is better than life. He's only 27 years old, so he'll be 77. God spares when he gets out. So, you know, that's the initial charge. And again, he felt like he could do better. Terrence says you never know. His attorney could have lied to him as well. Well, there was no lying. You pled guilty. So now you pled out. Now you get what the court gives you. You know, it wasn't like you went to trial. You figure if you went to trial, you would have lost. So, oh well.
You try to hit the bets, you know.
Right.
Well, that's
right,
the game.
you know?
Well, that's the game. You know, you say, look.
Right.
You know, first of all, when you talk of murder, I'm like, you know, you got, to me, that's you life for life, man. If you commit murder, you to me expect to go in for a very long time. So
Right.
I mean, how much time off you think you're going to get? Probably, you know, no matter what, you know, the prosecutor said, okay, well, you can get 50, but you plead guilty. I'll consider like 20 years. You know, you think, well, if I get 20 years, I might get out in 12 for good behavior and stuff like that.
Right.
But then the judge can say, oh, yeah, that's what y'all agreed to? Nah, I'm giving you 50.
Right.
No matter what.
Right.
You know? So, but you committed murder, though. I mean, like, you know, you want a deal, but you committed murder.
Right. What did you think you were going to, what did you think you were going to get? And just like you said, Ains, listen, the prosecutor can ask for a certain amount of time. The defense can ask for a certain amount of time, but it's up to the judge as to what time you actually get.
To approve it,
So
to approve it.
Right,
yeah.
right. So you punched the attorney, you punching the wrong individual.
Yeah.
You pled out. You pled guilty. That's the part that's like killing me. You pled guilty. Yo.
Listen, I know a situation where, all right, the DA or the ADA, right? Not actually the ADA, right? They come to an agreement with the defendant. I'll say I'll give you this little bit of time, but in their mind, they know the judge is not going to approve this.
Right.
So to get the person, he pleads guilty, you know, and he plead guilty, you know, you can't come back, oh, well, nah, I'm going to change my plea. But you know doggone well, the judge ain't going to approve it. But you plead guilty, so now you're totally at the mercy of the judge. There ain't no more negotiation.
Right. You pled guilty. That's it. You admitted to what they charged you with, brother. Sit down and shut up. That's it. You ain't got no business punching no attorney. You're the one that committed the crime. Where's my Pastor Jeff? Where's Pastor Jeff?
You can't do the time. Don't do the crime. Don't do the crime.
Absolutely. Hey, Pastor Jeff, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
What up, bro?
All right. What's up, man?
What up?
So, Pastor Jeff.
Yes.
What say you? Now he turns and punches the attorney in the face. You have a murder charge against you. Now, we basically know that in some states that once you are convicted of murder, you automatically get the death sentence. There's not even a time. The judge doesn't give you time. It's automatic. If you are found guilty, they automatically sentence you to either death or life. So I guess his pleading down meant, okay, I don't get life or I don't get the death penalty. Because this is in Houston, and I think Houston might be one of those where either you get life or you get death penalty. One of the two, automatically, if you're found guilty. So he pleads guilty. and they give him 50 years. He turns and punches his attorney. What's your thought?
Well, most likely the attorney told him, if you plead, probably told him you probably will get 20 to 30 years or something like that. And the judge did what he wanted to do. He was like, all right, you plead, but guess what? I'm the judge and I'm giving you 50.
Right.
You're not going to get the death penalty, but it's going to mean death. You'll be dead before you get out. So who else was he going to punch? The attorney is the only one near him to punch. He couldn't reach the judge. So, that attorney should have saw that coming. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? He should have seen it coming. Lord have mercy.
And probably, you know what? Maybe the attorney, he's been punched plenty times before. It ain't the first time.
Yeah. I mean, that attorney saw that coming.
What'd you say, Ainsley?
The attorney, he probably got punched plenty times before. It ain't his first time.
Oh, you know what? Where my women at? I can't talk to you men about stuff like this. All righty. All right. Terrence says, the crazy part is when you plead guilty, you're supposed to get a higher sentence. So if he got 50 years, that means he was going to get the death penalty for what? Yes, Terrence. That's why I'm like, who are you punching? I don't care nothing about this person's accessible to you and somebody that punched him before. That's beside the point. Who are you punching? A nigga says, okay, he's in Texas. He should be glad he didn't get the death penalty. That state gives death. That's what I'm saying. I thought it was Texas. We've done enough stories here. I thought it was Texas, Anika, where you get the death penalty if you're found guilty for murder. And yeah, you got 50 years, you be 77. You may not have a long level of life after that, but if God spares your life, you walk out with a cane or so. So what's the big deal? So you punch somebody. So now you don't get out at 77, you dope. Now, how you men like that? So now you don't even get out at 77. Because people are released at 77 and they got another good 5 years on. So now you didn't got them 5 years. You sit behind bars.
You got another 10 years.
Listen, you give me 50 years. That's it for me. I'm not going to be thinking about getting out at 77. I'm going to be thinking about I'm going to die in here. So he's not thinking he's getting out at 77.
No, you're not thinking about it. And he ain't thinking about it at the moment.
Yes.
But
so
was he get up in
punch
there?
You punch your attorney.
So when you get to be 65 and you think about the fact that you could have gotten out at 77 and now you 75 and you could have gotten out at 77, yeah, there'll be a whole lot of regret there. Where's my Pastor KL? Let's see what he's got to say about this thing. Should people be punching people because they don't care like Pastor Jeff? Good morning, Pastor KL.
Good morning. Good morning. So much hostility in the room. Good morning. Good morning.
There's no hostility. There's some challenge. So you gave away your last little 5 years that you could have been on this earth because as far as you're concerned, as Pastor Jeff said, I'm dead anyhow. So do you punch your attorney now and deal with the consequences later?
Well, I'm almost in agreement with Pastor Jeff. Not that I would do it, but at that point, I believe he said, listen, if you plead guilty, you'll get a whole lesser sentence. So he was counting on that, and he took it from the words of his attorney, who was supposed to have his back.
But he did get a lesser sentence.
No, but okay, he got a lesser sentence, but I'm sure the attorney said you'll probably get like 15 years. You know what I mean? He didn't say 50. He didn't say 50. So
you promised 15 years on a death sentence.
No, you're right.
So first of all, a lot of these defense attorneys, who's court ordered, appointed, they knew they're rookies. This is like their third and fourth case. He's excited. And then he punched the light-skinned man. So the light-skinned guy ain't really concerned about us. He just getting paid. You know, it's a lot to look into. And then once you say 50 to me, 50, I'm not looking at, you know, I'm not adding math as far as coming out. I just hear 50 in echo. Is an echo sound. And all I'm thinking about is I'm dying in here. So yeah, I turn around and swing. That's a I could hit the table, but I mean, you know, it was just apropos to hit him.
So I have a question for you guys. I have a question. So where's your own accountability? I agree. I agree that a lot of times we do hear that the court appointed attorneys, they don't work as hard. They're overloaded. They don't have a lot of time to work on your case. I get it. I get it. But I'm in a state where I already know the law. Now, when I say that, I mean, I'm a criminal. Because I'm a criminal, period. You've heard, listen, if I could tell you here that I remember doing stories where I believe it's Texas, because there are some, we've done stories where sometimes in some of these states, if you're found guilty of murder, you get automatic death sentence. There ain't no judge that can come up out of that, no nothing. That's an automatic thing. There are some states where you automatically get life. Ain't no judge thing. You living in this state. So you commit the murder, but now you mad because somebody didn't lie to you about the amount of time that you could get when you pled guilty to the crime. And you know, regardless of whether you got 10 years, 15 or 20, you still didn't get the death penalty. You still did not get life. So I'm mad at somebody else. Please, somebody explain this to me. Y'all want me to believe that it's nothing wrong with him being angry at the fact that the court-appointed attorney didn't do his job when I didn't shot somebody. What kind of mentality is this?
He's a criminal. He's a criminal, so he has a criminal mentality. That's what I mean. You want him, okay, but you want him to have common sense.
No, y'all don't know. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about y'all. You three. Not you three, you two, because Ainsley ain't said that. You two said, well, what you gonna do? He probably didn't do his job. So now I can understand why he punched the man. No, I don't understand this mentality. I get his stupid mentality, but I don't understand this justification coming out this screen. I don't get it.
I got a lawyer now I'd like to punch.
Did you kill somebody, Pastor Jeff?
No, but I still like to punch my lawyer because I took her advice, and it was the wrong advice. Even the judge laughed at her. The judge was like, "You should have did this," basically, and I would have won. I took the lawyer's advice. I remember I lost that situation. So yes, I would like to punch my lawyer because my lawyer was stupid. Even the judge basically said the lawyer was stupid.
Were you guilty of something and they told you to go a certain route? Is that what you're upset about?
No, I was not guilty of something. Oh. And the lawyer was like, "Oh, let's go to the jury." And the judge had already said that the police got it wrong. This was, years ago. The police got it wrong. And the judge was like, "If you'd have picked me, I'd have dismissed this case." I listened to the lawyer. "Oh, juries love me," and she was stupid. She's in jail now anyway. She stole $1 million from a church.
Oh Lord! So she ends up being the guilty one. So yeah. I could understand somebody giving me ill advice, but if you are already facing death or life Where
That
is
lawyer
the ill
gave
advice?
that lawyer gave him ill advice. I promise you that
That's what I'm
that
thinking.
lawyer told him, if you plead out, you're going to get something a lot lesser. That judge turned around and was like, no, I'm going to give you this. So he was
Right.
not expecting 50 years. He went off the advice of his lawyer. He probably felt he might as well have took it to trial and tried to beat it. Because at that age, somebody telling you 50, that's telling you you're never getting out. So
But what
he's mad at his lawyer.
But what is the alternative?
He would have got his alternative. The point of the fact is, if he didn't, he feel like if he didn't listen to his lawyer, he might have beat his case or got lesser time. You know,
He went to trial.
the lawyer took that from him by giving him that advice. He took the advice, but the lawyer didn't tell him the judge is probably one of those judges, and the judge is probably going to give you 50 years.
I don't agree with y'all. I don't agree with y'all.
I've been in a lot of legal situations, so I'm telling you how that went. I'm telling you how that went.
Okay, so listen to me. I've watched enough courtroom drama to understand that this could have happened. Again, I say, I myself am living in this state. I already see how things go down. We all know now. We ain't got the dumb mentality of a criminal. So I'm not disagreeing with you about the possibility. So I don't want you to believe that I'm disagreeing with you, that it could have gone down the way the two of you are describing. It could have gone down. I'm having a specific problem with, I'm not hearing the more logical side coming from y'all. I can't. Well, I understand why he punched him, because no, how could you even agree or understand the fact that he punched him when you were already guilty? I don't care what you thought you could have beat, because there was no guarantee there. So if you had lost, the biggest issue would have been you wasn't gonna see the light of day anyway. Not that you would have gotten 75 years instead of the 50 years. You were going away for life, period. Whether it was life to die or life to just live there forever and ever until you died. So I'm not understanding, well, I get it, because no, I just don't. But anyway, so I just want you to know, I'm not disagreeing with what you think the process could have been. I'm actually in agreement with you. I think that could have very well gone down, that way. But let's go back a little bit. Pastor Jeff, you down to do the review on Love Jones next week, Friday, God spares?
Man, I haven't watched Love Jones in so long.
Me? I watched it once. I ain't never watched it again. And that was years ago. So, are you down?
I mean, I could try to remember.
All right. You can't watch it in a week, Jeff.
Listen.
We're not asking you to go back on your memory. We know you're 75 and you're not going to remember what happened when you watched it when you were 20.
Listen, that's not going to help. Trying to mess with my mental capabilities,
Just go back and watch it, Pastor Jeff. I'm not even asking KL. I'm telling you, we're doing the review.
If I had the time.
Fine.
Listen, I'm a married man now, and I used to deal with Nia Long, and
you know what?
I might get some flashbacks. You know what I'm saying?
Stop it, Jeff. Stop it.
When she was doing Boys in the Hood, I was the hood that she was dealing with. You know what I'm saying?
You know what, Jeff? I'm done. Wait, is this a real story or is this a fake story, Jeff?
No. Nia Long was, you ask anybody that know me, Nia Long was my little girlfriend back then when she did Boys in the Hood.
So
I left her alone because at that time, I'd given my life to the Lord. Right after that, she was dealing with women. She was sleeping with a lot of people. She cheated on me 50 million times.
Oh my Lord.
I
Okay,
left her behind alone.
so all the people that can attest to this story is not on the screen.
Oh, everybody in this neighborhood that grew up with me will tell you that.
So I'm coming over to your neighborhood this afternoon. Please line them
you know,
up.
when I tell people that they like, don't believe it. Why? Because she near alone. That girl was out of control. She was messing with women back then, messing with
Jeff!
so many men. I can give you so much on her. That chick was out of control.
Wow. Talk about some tea right here.
And
people get on going to watch a Christian show, and we getting all the tea.
When I gave my life to the Lord, she kept trying to, make me sin. You know what I'm saying? She kept trying to bring me back, man. So you want me to watch Love Jones? I might get some flashbacks, man.
Where's Shantice? Help me, Shantice. Please help me. Oh my gosh. Well, you're gonna have to deal with the flashbacks because now we really doing it. Now we're see Al gonna be bedbound, so he can definitely watch Love Jones with me. Ainsley has already said yes, so Love Jones is the topic for next week. Get your flashbacks out of the way, Pastor Jeff, so you can get to chat with us.
Lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil.
Listen, you started off saying I'm a married man now, so you all right. You all right. Pastor Nicole will hold you down.
You think my wife, my wife, knows a lot about Neil Law. You think she want me flashbacking?
Oh Lord, you know what? Let me read Terrence's comment. Terrence says, I'm punching my attorney too, because the attorney always tells their clients, if you plead guilty, you'll get a lighter sentence, and he ended up getting 50 years. I'm punching him too. You right along with the other yo-yos in the room, Terrence. It's not a surprise. And we don't know the situation. Why he killed that guy was self-defense. We all don't know. Okay, Terrence, go ahead. We're going to give it to you.
That's the truth. You don't know.
We're going to give it to you today. A nigga says, I knew at some point Pastor Jeff was going to have a story.
Yeah, this is one of Jeff's stories corner right here.
You'll be tramping all over my territory.
On your life?
Yeah.
we be stepping all over your life with these particular.
Why you pick Love Jones? That's what I'm saying.
Because Love Jones ended up coming up on the radar of our stories because, at one point a few months ago, we did a story that came up was that there was talk about a reboot, that they were going to do another one. And now they interviewed Lorenz Tate and Neil Long interviewed, and they said no, they want to hold on to the authenticity of the initial movie. They don't want a reboot. They don't want a sequel, and just it was good where it was and just leave it there. And that's what our viewers threw into the chat room, that they felt that just leave it alone. I didn't think much of the movie, and Shantice is one of her favorites. A couple of people wrote in the chat room that it's their favorite, and I didn't find anything so spectacular about the movie, but I'm willing to go back and look at it, and maybe I can capture what they can capture. And I'm like, okay, is it as authentic? It is one of the more popular 90s movies. So I'm down to go back and review it and see. And Ainsley already knows how I am with the movies from my 2 cents. So him and Shantice have loved stuff, and I'm like, I'm on the other side. I ain't moved. Or I liked it and they hated it. So
exactly.
This is going to be this is going to be interesting to see what we come up. Shantice says the soundtrack was great too. Now that I agree with. They had that, but mostly every black movie in the 90s had a slamming soundtrack. So I do agree that Love Jones did have a good soundtrack. Unfortunately, because we're on YouTube, we can't play it because they'll flag us like crazy and we'll get all kind of copyright garbage going on. I wish we could actually play the if we were just going Facebook Live, we actually could do the soundtrack because Facebook does not flag you like that. Well, YouTube is like Flag City, so we can't do that. But I'm willing to go back and see how quote unquote authentic it is, and if they needed a sequel or would a sequel do it some justice or whatever. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll pray for you over this week that there's no flashbacks or things like that. So
Listen,
you can
I got a
review
million
it
stories.
properly.
I got a million stories about Nia.
Okay. Yeah, we could tell. We could definitely tell. All right. So Shantice, we gotta I didn't have a topic for you guys today necessarily. The topic that I had was like but Shantice did play she played a PSA that I thought was kind of interesting from Rotini, which is from one of my favorite shows of all time, Power. And he is now supposedly identifying as a Christian individual. Shanti says, stop hating Pastor Steph before I tie you down and make you watch Don't Be a Menace. Oh my gosh. That would be the cruelest thing she could ever do. So let's hear this PSA and let you guys weigh in on, whether you agree with what Rotini is saying or not.
Most men think that being a good man is enough. Like, I used to think that too. Like, if I was solid, if I cared, if I showed up, that should be enough, right? But I didn't realize how I showed up mattered more than what I actually felt. Like, I had to learn how to communicate without ego, how to listen without getting defensive, how to lead without controlling. Because being a man isn't about being right. It's about being accountable. Most men think that being a good man.
So interestingly enough, he talks about the accountability that I questioned with the guilty individual in the courtroom. Just holding yourself accountable for your deeds. So Ainsley, did something stay? No, Pastor Jeff, I'm gonna start with you. Was there something? What do you say about what was said? It's not the fact that you just show up, but it's how you show up.
I agree. I mean, I don't argue with that because just showing up, that's not enough.
Why isn't it enough? Why isn't it enough, in your opinion?
Showing up doesn't mean that you're going to step up to responsibility, step up to all the roles that you're supposed to play, in the position that you're supposed to be in. I mean, that's like, what example? If I just show up to school, all right, but I don't sit there and listen to the teacher and learn the lesson, that's not enough. And when I take the test, I'm not going to pass because I'm just showing up. But my mind is somewhere else,
Mm-hmm. Give us an example. Give us an example, Pastor Jeff, in all of your million stories in a naked city of when you showed up, but you did not, show up as a man, as Rotini is describing.
I mean, I can't think of nothing because I always was a man.
Oh, wow. You got 1,000,001 stories, and this is the one time you can't think of nothing, Pop. Wow,
every time,
really?
Look, every time I walk in, as a man,
I ain't talking about now, Jeff. I'm talking about over the course of your life. Don't try to put no paint on you right now, my brother.
I don't know.
Amazing.
I mean, I can't remember, like me just showing up for something because anytime in my life, I always got involved. Always at whatever level I was, I tried to show up as that person. And I might have made mistakes. I thought I was right. You know,
Well,
so I
that's the
don't.
point, Jeff. That's the point. He's saying showing up is not good enough. You show up and you've got to show up for the right reason to do the right thing. So I ask you, give us an example, and you say you ain't got one, but then you go back to say, well, I didn't always do it right. And that's the point. Is there a young man listening that could think he was showing up at one point like you did, thinking you were doing the right thing, but you didn't? So I'm gonna give you a chance to think about this thing,
Well,
and I'm gonna pass
I've pastored and made a lot of mistakes through the years, and when I look back, I even felt like, I turned some people off to the gospel. Like a lot of the churches I planted in California, in Arizona, I made a lot of mistakes, and I showed up, but I showed up at the capacity of my mentality and how I was taught by my grandfather and watching the men that were before me, and then I found out it was wrong, and I kind of led some people wrong by how I showed up. You know, I showed up with still a lot of times with a still street mentality and brought it into the church. You know, and I was wrong for that. I mean, I can look back on a lot of times, that I showed up, but I showed up at the level I was then, and now I look back and realize I showed up wrong.
Okay, thank you, Pastor Jeff. We have Serge who says you can show up but not have the connection or the communication between you and that person. Just because you are present doesn't mean you are there for the individual, the person. Okay, I agree. Ainsley, you want to be a little more specific to help somebody out here who might be listening?
Yeah, I
He
don't know
ain't
if it's
showing up.
me. I'm losing connection and breaking up. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I have a hard time understanding what you mean, like when you show up, because it's like it seems like you talking figuratively as opposed to literally. I mean, it sounds very generalistic. Show up. I mean, I need more substance. So because to me, as far as being man or manhood, as a man, we have some responsibilities. We got to take care for our kids, take care of our families, and stuff like that. So I mean, and to me, I'm going to take a stand and say this: we can't fault us for something that we're unaware of. When we know better, we do better. So I give an example. So, for example, when my kids were really young, and I was working, working late, overtime, going, taking classes and stuff like that, and I come home and my daughters, I was just like, say, hey, how y'all doing? Blah 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 blah, and the mother was like, y'all know who she is. She said, well, she was like, I'm not engaging with them enough, and I'm thinking, look, I'm providing. What do you mean? And I could have had that. So, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm showing up, but I did listen. And then I started really engaging with them more. Like at nighttime, particularly when they went to bed, I used to make up my own little bedtime stories. And because of that, I got a more renewed relationship, a even deeper, a better relationship, particularly my youngest daughter. We became really, really more tight after that, But at the time, at first, I figured I'm showing up, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I didn't know no better until somebody recommended, listen, maybe why don't you try this? So I think, man, we ain't wasting our time on nonsense. I don't think we really go out to do a halfway job. I think if we go, we gotta work. So so to say we is to halfway do it, I don't quite get that.
I think he was very clear. I think he was very clear. He gave very precise instances. And one of the examples he used was, yeah, I showed up to lead, but instead of leading, I was controlling. That's what is being spoken about. He gave several instances, and I think he did a very good job,
Okay,
like
well here's the
laying
thing.
out and
So
flushing.
if you don't know, but if you don't know that you're doing it wrong, how can you be faulted for that?
Nobody's asking about fault. I didn't use the word fault at all. He's not using the word fault. He's just giving a word of advice that says, you can't just show up, but when you show up, you have to show up to do right. It's just a guide. It's just a word of advice. There's no fault being placed here. I don't know how we got here where there's fault. All we're saying is, how have you learned that showing up was not good enough? And you gave a very good example as to what you read as showing up, but yet someone else pointed out that don't just be there, but do X, Y, and Z. You took the advice and then you found how it made for better. That's all I'm asking of the three of you. There's nobody pointing fingers. There's nobody saying, you know what, you should have done better, because you knew better. So I'm a little lost as to how Jeff ain't got a story. He got a million stories any other time. You ain't got one story now. You going to fault. I'm like lost here. So let's try Pastor KL. Maybe we can figure out something here. I
think it's how we're
lost.
perceiving things. So
Yeah, right. It is the perception, because
you ain't got one
I
either.
don't
I'm telling you right
understand.
now.
I'm lost as to how we got here. Go ahead, Pastor KL. Let's see what you come up with.
Well, I'm scared, to even answer. I said last week, you could be a bully sometimes.
I'm
Mad at
not
us
being a
because
bully. All I'm asking is, he gave very precise examples. And I'm
Mhm.
asking you three to just do the same. That's all I'm asking. And I'm puzzled as to how we're here. I'm lost, because I thought, when I heard the PSA this morning, I thought it was excellent. I thought it was an excellent example. And you three, of all three of ours here, you three of all three in your own conversations that we've had from Friday to Friday would definitely be good examples of what he means. Y'all could come up with, and like I said, Ainsley did. But to now say, well, how can you fault us because we didn't know, has nothing to do with that. With nobody's
What
questioning,
as
whether you were 15 or whether you were 93, but what have you learned over the course of your living that, yeah, I showed up? Because I could tell you 15 stories as a mother, as an employee, as a pastor, as a Christian, that several things I thought, like you said, I'm showing up, but I realized, what, when I got there, I did this, but had I done that, I would have, really kind of nailed it. And I really learned 5 years later that, that wasn't really good enough, or I did well, but I could have done it better, whatever. So Pastor KL, if you have an example, please put it on the table.
Well, listen, with my children, I'm almost like, I worked a lot, and it was hard for me, I guess, to have the relationship that I really, really wanted. And I realized that, even though the lights was on, if you will, even though the food was on the table, if you will, that still wasn't good enough. I still wasn't showing up. These are things that they automatically knew that they needed, but they needed me more than the food, if you will. They needed me more than the money. What was important to me wasn't necessarily important to them. So I didn't show up in that aspect where we would have father and daughter time, or son and father time, because my whole thing was trying to take care of them. So a lot of times, the perception of showing up, when you think you're doing good, you're still missing a piece out of it. You know, so that's one of the things in my beginning of stages of parenthood that I fought myself for.
Okay, it's a good example. Like I said, I myself, when he's coming from it was interesting when he gave the example, and then Shantice later said that he's now identifying as a Christian, because I thought that even sold the message even more. Let me read some of the comments. Some men show up and they would have done better staying where they were. Showing up means stepping out of your understanding, stepping out of what makes sense to you, and cater to what God is showing you they need. Let me see what else is going on here. Look at Pastor Steph's face. Oh, shut up. When the average man is told it's wrong and they're corrected, they still lean to what's comfortable to them, which means that there's no learning. And this is what the women complain about. I just think that this was a golden opportunity to send a message for what showing up really looks like. And
but I gotta say, watching the thing, I really wasn't quite understanding or quite agreeing with him. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, what's the point? What you trying to?
That's fine. Even if you didn't agree, that makes sense. If you didn't agree, we don't always have to agree. I'm with that.
Yeah, but I haven't agreed. But I was like, I don't get the point. Really, what you trying to say?
Shantice, play the video again. Do me a favor. Just play the video again.
It could be me because I got a bad connection. I seem like I'm.
Men think that being a good man is enough. Like, I used to think that too. Like, if I was solid, if I cared, if I showed up, that should be enough, right? But I didn't realize how I showed up mattered more than what I actually felt. Like, I had to learn how to communicate without ego. How to listen without getting defensive. How to lead without controlling. Because being a man isn't about being right. It's about being accountable.
Did you understand it the same way, Ainsley?
Yeah. I'm like, I still feel the same way though. I mean, I get the point. To me, it seemed more personal development. Lead without being controlling. That just like personal development, really. I still got. I kind of, not to say I won't say I disagree. I got a different perspective on that. I say it like that.
The whole PSA, in my opinion, was about personal development. The whole PSA, it wasn't one area. The whole PSA was about I'm showing up, but yet I'm not nailing this thing. I'm showing up initially with my level of understanding, only to later find out that what I thought I was doing right at the moment, I wasn't doing right, or I could have done better. So
all right, here's my point.
You're absolutely right.
But you wrapped it up as far as being a man. That goes for women as well. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
So I mean, to see it as a man, it's like that's not just a man thing. So I guess that's my issue. Okay, what area as a man and what our duties and respectful are you what you saying is specifically more for men, not women?
But why couldn't it just be? Okay, let me ask you this. So why couldn't it have just been him speaking as a man, not excluding women? Because I I didn't, again, it is perception, because I didn't take it that way. I didn't take it where he was saying, well, this is exclusive to men. Because as you heard a minute ago, I said, even myself, as a mother, as a pastor. So I'm in agreement that this is just kind of out there as an individual, not only Christian individuals, but just being a person, period, and just maturing over life. That's all I took this for. And I just took it as he was just saying, listen, I'm a man. And I see that as a man, not exclusionary to any the other gender. So I don't know.
Okay.
What time is it? Let me see what are these comments. Okay, so let me see where I left off. Please explain how there's a different perspective. I get that was flushed out for me. The deflection is real. Instead of understanding it for yourself, it now gets pushed it to being someone else too. He was speaking to the men. He's teaching men what he had to, I guess, learn as a man. I don't know. I think this conversation has fallen dead, honestly. I think this was a golden opportunity for us. I'm gonna say this. We don't know who's watching, and I say this all. We don't know who's watching, not going to watch later, and we don't have but one opportunity to nail these things. And I think the opportunity that was given today really fell dead. I think there was a golden opportunity to help someone else grow from our experience. So I don't care. We're all, again, despite what Pastor Jeff says, he is in the seasoned area of life. So we all have 1,000,001 opportunities to learn these things. So I'm going to say thank you for this thought-provoking conversation. And we pray you guys have a great weekend.
All right.
All righty. Thank you. All right. So I always end with wow. Always end with wow. We always have a wow moment here on It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. I'm a real big proponent for let's seize the opportunity. And I value our men. I really do. I think that they are great examples of the former life and my current life. Pastor KL is the one who coined the phrase that we all use in my former life. And I think it's important that we continue to share these opportunities. Yesterday, we had a dynamic display of a story of just learning and growth. And, I started off our recap today saying it wasn't even just her story. It was the gems that got dropped in the middle of the stories. They were amazing. And for that PSA to show up this morning, I thought was great because it would be a great piggyback for our men to be able to just say, hey, because they do it all the time. They do it all the time. So I guess I'm a little thrown as to the missed opportunity. So I will say, we all have an opportunity to grow. When we look at our lives and we see, they two of them brought up parenting. And I too will say, as a mother, as a single mother, you do a lot of things. Shartice tells stories. Sometimes she'll say things that I even forgot. And I'm like, oh, you remember that? Because I didn't remember that. And you say, you know what, I could have done that better. You know, when you're a parent, especially a mother, you're constantly accused of the older ones not getting away with stuff that the younger ones got away with. Oh, that's a constant accusation. And what they don't understand is, yes, by the time the younger ones come around, I've matured. And I realized that some of the things that I did with you, I shouldn't have done. I shouldn't have done it a little differently. I should have been a little more patient, or I should have, done it in this manner. And now when the younger children come around, or come along rather, now my headspace is different. Not only that, based on the age gap, am I just at a different point in my life? So when they compare the two, I always say to them also, well, when I was raising y'all, especially Shantice, I was a young mother. And by the time I got to Tamasia, I was 32 years old. That's a whole 18-year difference almost. Just a couple of years short of 18 years from when I first became a mother. And now I'm becoming a mother now because I also have an in-between child as well. So I am not going to be the same woman, the same mother, the same person. I wasn't even considering a godly life when I was raising the first two. I didn't even get baptized till I was 35. So that was even after the last child. And so of course, there's going to be some differences in, how I handled you versus how I handled her. Also, something else we talk about here all the time is just, again, life and who they are as children to you. I can't handle one child the way I handle another child, despite the fact that there are commonalities, that like there's a root way of growing up in Stephanie's house. But at one point, I have to now kind of veer off and I have to do things differently. My youngest child compares my treatment with, my rules with her. And she was like, well, you let Mariah, which is my granddaughter. And I'm saying, first of all, Mariah's not my daughter. So that there, as much as we have room to, help to guide her, she still has a mother. And we war with her over a lot of things. But again, I have to say to my youngest girl, you were in a different era than Mariah. You're a Z, if you will, and she's an alpha. So the times are different. But can I still look at when I was raising Tamasia and now when I'm helping to raise Mariah, how I would even do things differently, even in those two? Absolutely. Why? Because the world is different. Why? Because even though I was a Christian back then, I have a different relationship with God now. So in other words, I'm using that as kind of like a gauge in an area. But that's life. Life allows us growth. They coined a phrase, with age comes maturity. So as life goes on, we will see that showing up, that being there is never going to be the key. It is being there and doing it the best way. And it has nothing to do with, I'll be kind of just as Shantice would say, transparency moment. And I think I may have said this a couple of weeks ago. I've really been reflecting on the old Stephanie. I really have. And I realized there's certain things that I'm actually looking at now. It was my fault that I missed the mark. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, wow. I just had this conversation with Shantice like day before yesterday. And I said, you know what? I really messed up. Is my life over? Absolutely not. Where I am now, I may not have been there had I made certain moves back then. But I realized that some of the things that I would have hoped for in life, I messed that up. I showed up. But baby, when I showed up, it was so off the beaten path. Now, do I beat myself up about certain things? Honestly, transparency wise, yeah. I'm like, you really messed that up. That was just plain old stupid, Stephanie. And there were other areas of life where the Spirit of the Lord has had to help me understand that's just part of life. You are going to show up, and yet you're going to miss the mark. Why? Because I believe it was like Ainsley said, it's just where you are at the time. And you don't understand. And even God says, in your time of ignorance, I winked at you. That actually came up earlier this week. He doesn't hold us accountable for things that we just don't know. So I didn't look at it as the PSA coming across as that. I took it as he's telling men, hey, this is what I've learned, that in order to be a good man does not mean just showing up. It means just getting it right. And there are going to be times we're not going to get it right. That's why I gave my whole, example. But here's why there's a continual petition for you to make Jesus the head of your life, because that will make the difference in your showing up. That's what I was hoping the men would say. I didn't want you to hear it from me today. I wanted you to hear it from the men. It came from a man, and I wanted the men to put a stamp on that thing. When we show up as people who are not in the Lord, we show up at our best capacity, doing the best that we can sometimes, because sometimes we just ain't there. But there were times we show up with our best suit on. We've shaved, we've done our hair, we've put on our makeup, we've got on our gloves per se, we got on our high heels and the pantyhose, and we ready to rock this thing. We got on our suits, our ties, our hair is cut, and we ready. But yet, even when we show up at our best, without God, it misses the mark. It misses the mark greatly. And we're here every day to help you understand. We're saying choose God and make God the head of your life for a reason. Because even when we're trying our best, it ain't the best. But when we I always say, sprinkle a little Jesus on that thing. When we make God the center and the head of our life, now it's the best. It's the best. It may not even be in comparison what someone else would bring to the table, but I don't care about that, because God is not holding me accountable for what someone else is bringing to the table. God is holding me accountable for what Stephanie is bringing to the table. And it's a conversation that Shantice and I have been having about just the words of advice to my youngest daughter and to my granddaughter. When we're pushing you, we're not pushing you because we don't feel as though you're not doing your best. When we push you, we're not pushing you because, you're not trying hard enough. But when we push you, when we're saying certain things to you, it's to help you understand this is what we're seeing. And unfortunately, if you don't rise above that, then you will not reach your greatest potential. So we're encouraging you to show up and do what you need to do. Because again, I don't think a lot of you are realizing this. We ain't got a whole lot of opportunity to get this thing right. It doesn't mean that we're going to be perfect, but it means that, listen, God is relying on us to make it our best. And when you look at it from the perspective of where the PSA was coming from, then we need, as Christian people, to change that mindset and say, you know what? Every time I show up, I realize that at times I didn't show up my best. Even when I thought it was my best. I realize now, looking back, it wasn't my best. But even more so, we want you, every day, I close out by saying, don't miss this opportunity to choose Christ as your personal Savior. Make God the head of your life. Because this is why it matters. Because we think when we showing up, we doing the daggone thing. But in actuality, we're not. How many people are relying on us? How is God relying on us to get this thing done right? Because we only gonna see that man at the bus stop one time. And whatever we say to him can make or break him. Whatever we say to him or her at that bus stop can leave them believing that, yeah, you know what? I heard this thing before. But you know what? It's about time that I try this. We don't have but one opportunity sometimes. Most times, we're not going to see these people again. If we're talking about our co-workers, yeah, we're going to see these people over and over and over again. But when it talks about our other opportunities, to just plant a seed or to just water, it makes the difference how we show up. If we show up to not to our fullest potential or not with that greater understanding, let's make sure going forward we stay before God for that. Now I realize I didn't get the best out of what I thought I was doing. But you know what? I stay before the Lord for that thing right now. Because I realize that right now, as I'm getting older, I need to become wiser. As I'm getting older, my days here are shorter. And I ain't got no time to make the mistakes that I made when I was 20 years old. Because I just got finished saying to you, I think it was day before yesterday, that the Lord said the enemy is snatching up his people in droves. But I got to get to my people. Well, he's using us to get to his people. He's not going to be able to communicate with everybody from heaven. He needs us right here on earth to make that indelible mark in people's lives. And we need to seize that opportunity. Every opportunity we get. Are we going to be tired? Yep. We talked about that even with the Good Samaritan. That some of us are kind of, we're excited about maybe helping somebody. But because we been burnt, because we didn't watch these other people do the nice thing and it's like they didn't have a good outcome, now we kind of stepping back from how we could be a blessing to somebody. Had that man just been robbed and his car was stolen, he wouldn't have wanted to pick up another person ever again. But here's what happens now. Now that he was murdered as a Good Samaritan, all his family, all his friends, that's what's going to be left in their minds. My friend died, my son died, my brother died, my cousin died helping out a man he thought he was just, going to do a favor for, and it cost him his life. That's the impact of this world. It pushes us back. And I want to encourage you that despite the fact that you made mistakes before, you didn't quite nail it, especially if we've given our lives to the Lord, God is relying on us to step up to that plate and stay before him for guidance. Stay before God for guidance as to how to make this thing happen, how to now show up. I just came from a town hall meeting where the political officials showed up, and many of people was left unhappy because they were like, we stayed here for like 2 hours and a half, 3 hours, and yet they let the meeting end this way. And I don't feel like anything was resolved, but they showed up. I personally think they could have done a better job. I personally think that they were kind of so antsy to show that they can show up, that there was not a concrete plan. That I think with all the brains that were supposedly involved, they had all these pictures of all these political people who were going to be there, and you didn't see half of them. So I don't know whether they were intending to show up and they ended up, being called away or whatever, or they were just putting it out there and they really weren't coming to be with. I don't know which one. But at the end of the day, what ended up happening? A lot of people didn't leave encouraged. We were there right behind the murder, the heinous, senseless, unnecessary murder of 15-year-old Jaden Pierre, and how all of the community was impacted and what we can do to move forward. And they showed up all right, but they ain't do a whole lot. They didn't, so they did take everybody's name and information, because they said they wanted to continue the conversation. So they're going to make an attempt to kind of gather up all these people again. Now what's going to happen? Some people are going to say, hey, I was there already, I spent 4-5 hours, I'm not doing this again. And there will be others who will say, you know what, I'm gonna make some time, I'm gonna give them another chance. Do I think the entire meeting was a waste? No. I think that there were some key points, but not from them. I think the gathering allowed for some key things, key connections to be made, but at the end of the day, what they provided, other than the gathering space and the opportunity to, meet other people, I don't think they really did a great job. Am I beating them up? No. Like I said, I think in their angst to show the community that we're here, we're aware, we're listening, they didn't get together. They could have waited another couple of days where maybe they could have met and kind of, worked on some things. That would have been better than showing up on Tuesday, right behind the visual that was done on Monday. So, sometimes the way we plan things isn't the best. So that's why I said, I'm not beating them up. I get it. I get what you were trying to do. I do think that it could have been done in a different manner. So, again, that showing up is not the end all and be all. And, like I said, some people will smash them, because Shanti's got a subsequent phone call of somebody who was very unhappy and she voiced it, and will she go back? I don't know. I have the same feeling like they missed the mark, but I'm willing to go back. I'm willing to go back because I think I understand from life that sometimes we're going to have to do things 2-3 times in order to get to where we ultimately need to be. We're going to have to do things 2-3 times in order to actually get to where we want to be, and where the desires will be actually met. It's not going to be done that first time, whether even had they waited a couple of days. Some things just take maturing. And that's what I think, again, this is a golden opportunity to say, in our maturing, when we learn how to truly show up. We learned that when we showed up before, had we taken some other experiences opposed to these set of experiences, now when we show up, it's a little different. So let's give God our life, which is, to me, the ultimate message here. Let's give God our life so that when we show up, we're not showing up with our level of understanding. The word of God says, lean not to your understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Perfect example. When we show up, we're not showing up with our level of mentality. We're showing up with a godly mentality. And God will excel and exceed past the thoughts that and the understanding that we have. So when we show up, we nail that thing. All right. You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. As you go through your day, be sure to set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. They will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew, the men, for taking us into a thought-provoking weekend. Thank you for hanging out with us and helping to keep that chat room alive. Please do not miss this opportunity to give Christ your life right now. Please do not miss this opportunity to strengthen that relationship with the Lord right now, because later is not promised to any of us, and we don't want God to close our eyes and we've missed the mark. Until Sunday, we'll be in the Word Prayer Project room. Come on out and see what we're going to be praying about. Until then, God spares. I love you.